Welcome, everybody. Number 263. I'm here with our member Thomas and two of our no code school students, Utopia and Dana. And we're going to get started in just a moment. But if this is your first time tuning into office hours, we do these sessions 6 times per week: Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and Mondays we have a second session at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. If you would like to join us, you can go to NoCoders.com, sign up for the developer membership, and hop on in a Zoom call, and you can ask us any bubble question you want, or really any no-code question that you want. We don't always have the answers, but we promise to do our best. We get it right most of the time, and at the very least, you won't have to suffer alone. So thank you for tuning in today. And Dana, you had a question to start.
Yeah, so I heard, Tanya, that you said that there was some changes to NoCoders, something about the changes to the vault and office hours. I'm not sure if you know what they're going to be and when it's going to take effect.
Yep, so it is taking effect right now. We are no longer charging for the vault membership. So it's not yet available for free. Pablo has to make the switch happen on the back end of our app. But very shortly, all of the free members of pronocoders.com will be able to access our vault, our growing vault of videos, which are curated videos. They are cataloged and carefully tagged, and then even more carefully time-stamped to make it as easy as possible for you to find not just the video that you want to watch, but also the point in the video that you want to watch to help get your bubble questions answered. So go ahead and sign up for free at pronocoders.com, and I will send out an email when everyone has access.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So and then nothing's changing about our developer membership, but we're doing lots and lots of things with No Code School. So.
Oh, actually, Tanya, just a follow-up question on that. So the content in the vault, is that taken from the office hours, or is that things that you record on your own?
No, those are things that, so there are certain pieces of office hours that have been deemed worthy of the vault, but no, we don't have all of our office hours in the vault. If you want to see all of the office hours, you can do that on YouTube. We do have plans at some point to put office hours in the vault, but then to like make them searchable, but not as of yet. So these are more videos that I make when I'm answering a specific question that somebody's asked, and not just me. Also, Cameron records videos for the vaults. Pablo records videos for the vaults, and sometimes even Eli.
Great, thanks.
Yep, no problem. Thomas, you said you had a question?
Yep. Mine is a two-part question, so I will start with the first part and then pass it on to the next person. If someone.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna just take over here, kick you out real quick. So.
Sounds good to me.
My first question is, give me 1 second as I figure out where things are. So essentially what I'm trying to do, I started this app yesterday and I want to sign up with a phone number instead of an email.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if that's possible, but I followed a forum post in here, which is to, 1 second as I try to find where that is. They suggested to, not in this flow, but this flow. To where did I put that? Ah, that's right. Of course. Duh. So I am using an input of type text and I am signing up with the value and I'm appending a at newyuser.com so that when it stores in the database, it stores with a
Hmm.
at newyuser.com. And then I'm storing it also in the phone number. So it just stores the phone number itself. Do you suggest
Yep.
I do it that way?
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it at newyuser.com. I would do it at yourdomain.com.
Okay, because that's what they were.
Like at like whatever your bubble
Yeah.
app domain is. Yeah.
So it would just be this.
Yeah, the demo
Perhaps.
referral app. Yep. So at whatever you assign your domain to be, if it's like demoreferral.com, then it would be the phone number at demoreferral.com.
So what's the reason for that exactly? I know they said it here, but was there a specific reason for that?
The reason for setting it up to your own URL.
Yeah, is it just? I guess it just makes
Yeah,
sense.
you don't want to send people's phone numbers to whoever owns the newyuser.com domain.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
if they ever like somehow like were to, you just never want to email newyuser.com. It's like I don't ever use test.com when I'm working. I always use a domain that I own.
Got it. Okay. So I will
Yeah.
give that a try. That's probably one of the issues I was having. But so the second issue I was having, unless somebody has a question, I'm not sure. I
Nope.
guess not.
I think you're good.
So what I am trying to do is I want to store the referred by, and I'm having an issue. I'm thinking it's when page is loaded, this situation is happening. It's not working. So I'll just walk you through it so you see exactly what I mean. It'll be very quick.
Doesn't have to be.
Oh, you know me though, girl. I just want to fly. Here you are. I will just do this for sample purposes. Always has to be like precise, doesn't it? I'll just use my face. So now I'll copy the link and I'll just go incognito. So essentially, I'm trying to reference this, but when I do, I add this as a non-logged in user, it clears. And it just goes back to the,
Oh, yeah, this goes back to, so just go to that workflow where it's clearing after it runs. It's you just have to send the current parameters.
where was it? I'm sorry, I missed that.
So you're making changes to user, but before that, when did the URL parameter disappear? After which button click?
When did it disappear? It just disappeared when I dropped the link in the URL. I'm not sure if that's what you mean exactly.
Go back to what you were doing
Sure.
on the page. Like you had the URL parameter and then it disappeared.
Yep. I dropped the copy URL parameter in here.
Okay. So it's going to the sign up page. So go to the sign up page.
I didn't separate it in this situation. It's still on the index. I'll do that later though.
Oh, it's still on the, but go to your,
Go ahead.
So when they go to that link, go back to the other page again.
You want
No, the preview page, the one on the end, on the right-hand side at the top tab. So when you go grab that link and paste that link again,
I'm gonna do it in a
because the
minute.
problem is when you are going to that page, it's dropping the URL parameter, right?
Yep, when I'm not logged in.
And that was the sign up page, right? So paste that URL again.
Yep, it'll just clear. Yep.
Tab equals sign up. Okay, so go to your index page then. And go to the workflows. And the workflows, when the page is loaded, go to page index, and it says only, and get tab equals sign up when get tab from page URL is empty and the user is logged out. And the user is logged out, right? When they copy and paste that link, they haven't
Yep.
created a user, right?
Nope.
So this is running, and then go back to the other page, go the top right tab, and paste that link again. Tab equals sign. Oh, no, don't hit enter, just paste. So tab, you have 2 question marks in there. That's why.
Yep. So it's referencing the tab sign up, which I'm thinking is the when page is loaded.
Right. And it should be an ampersand instead of another question mark.
Got it. So is there an issue with the spacing or?
No, it's not spacing. It's that link that you have them copying. That link, you have it with an extra question mark in it. You have to change it to an ampersand. So this user's, where's the link that they're copying? Go to the input or the place where they're copying the link. There. So demo referral app version test. Yep, just change that second question mark in the initial content, change it to an ampersand, the and sign.
Where exactly? I'm sorry, I missed that.
So right before it says REF, change that to the and sign, delete. Yep, that there, now it'll work.
So I will just.
And hit enter.
Yep. Uh-oh.
So probably because version test demo referral app.bubbleapps.io. Is that the whole link? It doesn't say HTTPS?
Ooh, maybe I didn't accidentally grab that. Let's see.
No, that's okay. And tab equals sign up and ref equals stand. Oh, it's just saying it referred you too many times. So when you got to the page,
Let's see. Gonna just. Don't think this makes much of a difference, but.
so go to the index page. Go to the workflows on the index page. When that page is loaded, it's saying go to page index and then go to that step 1. When you get tab from page URL is empty, you want to go to tab equals sign up. Click in the key there and click in the sign up where it says sign up. Okay. And then go back to that link so I can see it again.
On the input?
Tab equals sign up. So instead of putting the initial content there as the version test, just take the /version test /off.
/version test /
Take that out.
Should I leave one slash or take
No.
all of them out?
Take them all out. Let's try that.
Because it's not live, yeah.
Okay, and then can you make it live or is it on a
It's on a free plan.
free plan?
Can you make agency for me? Is that possible?
Yep, definitely. You just add me as a collaborator.
I gotcha, I'll do that now. I will stop sharing because then probably you want to take pilot too.
No problem.
So many tabs. Team at NoCoders?
Yep, team@pronocoders.com. And you have to make me an admin if I'm going to upgrade you.
Team@pronocoders.com. All right, I just did it.
Cool. I just got a notification that you did.
Sweet.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Please and thank you.
Yep, we're going to go to settings, app plan. Okay, we're going to go to this index and then okay, so if I preview it, so here's where I sign up, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to sign up. Sorry, Thomas. I will put a real test user face on there.
You're good. No worries.
There we go. How about her? And then I'm signed in now, which is why you were going to the incognito window. And that won't work because it's not live yet, although we can make it live now. Let's try this one. So it's redirecting. So it has to do with this index thing. On your index page, this workflow is messing things up.
That's what I was thinking.
So when you're going to like the tab sign up, if it's empty, so I don't know why it's running again because it's saying get tab from page URL is empty, but it's not empty because when we go into this new incognito window here, tab equals sign up.
It's super confusing.
You know, I think what you need to do is you need to put that on a home page and make your index page just like a switchboard operator.
Oh, gotcha.
I bet you.
Indexing.
Because I think what's happening is it just needs this needs to be home, and then you have the question mark.
Ah, okay, cool. Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll come back
Yeah.
tomorrow. I appreciate that though.
I'm guessing that will work.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, the index page, I mean.
Is it just, I know you mentioned it once before, but I've kind of forgotten. Is it just something with the index page in general, it being the main page?
Well, I think I just don't remember seeing URL parameters just like hanging out there after here without being attached to a path, and the index page doesn't have a path. So I think this is a path. So I think you just have to have a path before you can use the URL parameters effectively.
Cool. I'll
So
give it a shot. I appreciate it.
that's my guess. Yeah, no worries. Anything else?
There's always something, but it doesn't pop up when you need it to pop up.
Ha. No worries.
Tanya, I do have a kind of a generic question. It's not, would you be able to talk about sub apps at all, just as a general, like, have you used it before, or any pros and cons and things like that, or not really? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I manage an app that uses sub apps. So it's for a client who the general business model is they run advertising on the television screens, or television or computer screens, whichever, in the doctor's offices. Like if you go to the doctor's office in the waiting room, there will be a screen and it'll be showing you like customized advertising. So his business is to set all of that up for various wellness groups. And that's where the sub apps come in, is because he wants to, he doesn't just want people to have access to the app as users. They have their own app because it's their own URL and everything else. And it's highly like customized to them. So he has his, what they call the master app, and he deploys the code anytime there's change on the master app. He deploys the code to the sub apps, and then there are some things that are customized about the sub apps and some things that are standardized across all of them. But I'd say there are alternatives to doing that. If your only reason that you want to do something like that is you want to do custom URLs for your users, there are a couple of different plugins that you can use to achieve the same effect but keep the same database and the same app. The benefits of doing that is you can white label really easily. I have another client. I moved off of his app, but he was doing something similar because he was white labeling his app to other organizations, and so they would need their own instance of the app. Some of the downfalls of it is that the databases are completely separate. So if you want to deploy anything from the main app to the sub apps using that involves the database, you actually have to program that in and connect the two. So like you would have to make endpoints in the sub apps that would be able to receive information from the main app, and then you would set, like, you could deploy the code, but then you would have to, or the programming I should say, and then you would have to also kick off a workflow to send all of the data over. So but no, other than that, there are not too many downsides other than it costs. You have to pay for each app separately.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how does cost for that work for Bubble?
So each of those apps, the sub apps, would go onto its own plan. So depending on what level plan they would need, they would have to pay for Bubble. You would have to pay a monthly or annual plan for each of those separate apps.
And then the main master app, can that be on any plan as well, or is that just production?
Just production. That's the only time you get access to creating sub apps.
Okay, and then the plugins you mentioned that can kind of do that, but not really. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, the one that I have in my mind is called SaaS Alias. I think there's two of them that you need. Oh, that's my plugins. I want to go to Bubble's plugins. I don't use this one. So you have to buy this one time, and then this one is a monthly fee. But $50 a month is a lot less expensive than running multiple 29 or 59 or whatever apps. So.
And I know that there's different use cases, but going back to that doctor example, I've seen like chiropractors, especially, how they have an app where it seems like it's white label and it's different for each one, where you go to their office and then there's an actual URL that you type in your browser and then you log in to, check in and things like that. And let's say that there's an app like that that's the same, but across many different doctors. And whenever a person logs in, you only want to see your information for that specific doctor, even though it's technically the same app, let's say. Would you still use a sub app for that specific situation?
So I go to a national URL and I log in, and then I tell them which location that I want to be.
Yeah, so let's say that. Yeah, so let's say, Tanya, you had a chiropractor office, right? So Tanya's chiropractor, and Thomas had a dentist. He's a dentist now. So both of you have separate office, one chiropractor, one dentist, completely different, but both of you want this URL to be able, so that when customers or clients go to your office, they could type in the URL, and then you would be able to look up your profile and check in and, give feedback or something. So it's kind of like a white label situation, because one is Tanya's chiropractor, one is Thomas' dentist office. Although the app does the exact same thing, it's just
so that would be a good use case of sub apps, right? Okay. So it's using one, what we would call code base, except it's no code, right? But it's the code that you produce with Bubble, because essentially when you no code on Bubble, Bubble's doing the coding for you, right? So you'd be using one code base, but two separate databases. And
So
you can use,
sub-apps would be.
yeah, so sub apps would work for that. So so what they don't let me do in Bubble here is if I go in here, actually I could have stayed in that one, but I'll choose a different one. So what the agency plan doesn't let me do is it doesn't let me see those production level options, I don't think. So if I go to like demo, no, not that one, this one. So I go to my settings here. Oh, it does. I can create sub apps here. So you go into this mode here, sub apps, and you would name an app and you can tell it whether or not you're going to copy the database of this app when you spin it off the new app, right? And when you do that, if you are using, so like at AirDev, we use Canvas, and Canvas has a whole slew of things in its database that you would need to copy over in order for the app to work, the new app to work. So the trickiest part to the sub apps is like how much customization are they going to have, and are you going to like eliminate any of their customization when you deploy new changes? Because sub apps kind of work the same way that versions work, right? The versions can become unsynchronized, no longer synced together. Because if I make changes on development, it's no longer going to be synced with third version or live. If I make changes on third version, it's no longer to be synced with development or live, right? Well, the same thing happens with the apps. If I use a main app and I spin it off into a sub app, the second I make any changes to the main app, it's no longer synced with the sub app. And the same, vice versa. If I make any changes in the sub app, it's no longer synced. So you have to be careful that the only thing that you're really changing in the sub app is the database and not the code. Because the second that I deploy, like after I have one, this opens up as a new section here. So let's just try one. Okay, so now I have sub app trial here. And so if I make a change in anywhere except in the app data section, so let's say I go to my index here and I just delete this out. So if I'm going to go to the sub app that I just made, I would go to sub app trial.bubbleapps.io version test. Oh, not version test. Trial. Version test. There we go. This mobile application is protected in run mode by password. The application plan does not include this feature, so I'd have to upgrade the sub app one to an agency as well in order for us to see it. But now the sub app that I just made has that picture, but the main app does not. Does that make sense? So are you following?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So now what I would have to do, where did it go? I had my, there. So if I wanted to make them identical, I'd have to come into the settings here. I'd go to sub apps and I'd have to push that change live to the sub app. So what I'd want to do is I'd want to make sure that any of the customization that can happen on a sub app would happen in the database here, because I can push and I don't have to worry about ruining any of the customization. that's happened. So this is why we have admin portals. We haven't really gotten into that concept yet, outside of like we've created an actual page for an admin portal. But what we would tend to do is we would tend to give the admin of an app a lot of control over the look and feel and even the text and copy of their app from the admin portal, because that would give them the ability to make changes to the database. And it would also mean that the app is relying on the database to tell it what to look like and what to say. And then I can deploy changes from the main app to the sub app, and it won't affect the database. So
got it. I mean, it works if you make changes to the sub app, but it's going to be a maintenance nightmare too. If you
right.
made like actual
And
changes to sub app.
Yeah, and I have to ask, because actually Juan was just going through this yesterday. He was asking me about it on our client call, because he had a need to make some changes to the code base in the sub app, and he was like, well, won't that just erase it? And he got it to work, so I'll go back and ask him to show me again how he got it to work. But essentially that's the idea, is you keep all the customization in the database, and then you push the code base changes. Everything should be synced with the main app.
No, it makes perfect sense. Thanks. That's interesting. I'm not there yet,
no,
but
it's a whole new
interesting.
world, right? Yeah. It's a whole different set of issues to consider.
Do you know, or can you share how many sub apps like have you seen as the max, or there's not really?
I don't think there is a maximum.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Bubble would love for you to have thousands and thousands of copies of the same app and pay them, monthly for each one. Bubble digs it.
Makes sense too. Okay. No, that's interesting as well, but thanks for sharing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is an area that I haven't played around in it too much. I just have recognized some of I've scoped out having to what it would take to add sub apps and the considerations of that when you're like building multi-tenant SaaS, and the white labeling, because you can build multi-tenancy into a single database. That's not a problem. We do that all the time. But different world. The other consideration is for that one client, that not the one that I'm actively managing, but the one that I turned over to a different PM earlier this year. He wanted apps in the App Store, and each sub app has to be wrapped on its own. So that's an added expense to consider.
Yeah, it's just interesting if you keep it simple and it's just, one set of user and one admin, that's one thing. But I can see how, for example, if you have a school portal or something like that, and they each want their own school website to manage their teachers and their students like that, that would still be a sub app, I think.
Yep, you could do it. You could do it the other way. There's some inherent risks to keeping them on the same database, right? Because especially when you start talking about student information, because when you talk about student information, you start getting into some very strict privacy laws and regulations, not just in the United States, but lots of different places. Like the GDPR violation I think I was telling you about, where my friend ended up fined 250,000 euros, and it had to do with the fact that they accidentally shared private student information. Just the emails, not the names or anything. Just the emails. I was like, whoa. You'd want to keep those in separate databases, maybe just for your own protection.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Thoughts, comments, concerns, speeches? All right, I guess we'll move into the after hours section. After hours is what happens when we finish the recording of office hours and we kick back. Sometimes we turn on our cameras and we're just freer because we're not being recorded and sharing it with the rest of the world. If you'd like to come to after hours, though, you have to be a member. So please go to pronocoders.com and sign up for the developer membership as soon as possible because we can't wait to meet you.